Hi crafty friends, today I'm going to be sharing a project with you that's a little bit different than usual. Today I made two hand-bound notebooks using the new Book Edges dies from Mama Elephant. So I'll be using Deliver Fall Fun and Write With Me to decorate the front of my notebooks, and these book edges give a really fun and different way to make some projects like these notebooks. For this first notebook, I will be sewing it with some waxed linen thread, and I'm just showing you how I put together the pages. On the front and the back cover are made with some cardstock, and the inner pages are just plain printer paper. I'm stamping the notes word on the front cover, and in order to make sure that I line up that word, I use a little piece of washi tape and put it where I wanted it to be, and that helps guide my stamping. Once I was done stamping the word notes, I am going to go ahead and sew the edge together. Now this thread is waxed linen thread, and in order to figure out how much I needed, I looped the thread around about 7 times the length of my notebook. I'm using a large eye blunt yarn needle to sew the notebook together. In order to keep it together, I am clipping my notebook with a binder clip. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to find one of the middle-ish holes and put my thread through so that the end of the the end of the thread is on the inside of the notebook. So I found about halfway through and just kind of threaded it through the middle. Now I have to admit, for this part of the video, when you watch me sewing, I am literally watching another YouTube video that shows how to do this style of bookbinding. It's a Japanese hemp leaf bookbinding edge, and I'm watching this video while I'm trying to figure out how to sew this. So I will link to that video below as you watch me kind of fumble around with figuring out how to sew this thing. It eventually gets done. Towards the end, I actually just start sewing it the way I think it should be sewn because it was taking too long for me to follow that other video step by step. But this first part, I'm definitely watching this video and trying to figure out how to sew it. So I don't claim to be an expert on this. I was following a tutorial myself. One thing that I did find was for the starting hole, there's going to be a lot of passes that you're going to make through the starting hole. So that starting hole does get a little tight to try to thread things through there. So just a warning, you do have to kind of wiggle your needle through that starting hole because it does get a little bit tougher. There's a lot of threads going through the starting hole. I wanted to make a note about the kind of thread that I'm using. When I looked up bookbinding techniques, the common thing that I saw about the thread was that people would use a waxed linen thread in order to do this. So I went and I found this thread from my local big box craft store, Joann's. And one thing about this thread that I found there was that it is a 1mm thread. I felt like it was a little bit thick to work through the holes, but having this needle really helped get the thread through the holes. So if you do use a 1mm thick waxed linen thread, just note that it will be a little bit tougher to get the thread through, but it'll still work. It'll be fine. The other thing I wanted to say was I think you can use regular thread for this, but the nice thing about the waxed linen thread was it made it a lot easier to kind of glide through the holes and it did not fray. So I think that would be an incentive for you if you decide to try this, to try to find some waxed linen thread. This thread I found at Joann, it was just a few dollars and I used a coupon on it, so you could save a buck or so. And it worked pretty well. And it's just a few dollars, so it's not like you're going on Amazon and buying $15 worth of thread just to make one notebook. So I felt like this was like a fun and economical way to try my hand at bookbinding. So see here as I am finishing up the sewing that I go back and forth back into the starting hole. And once I find the starting hole, I will work my needle through to that center spot where I had my starting thread because I want to get my end through there so I can tie a knot. And once I tie off the knot, I just snip off the threads and just kind of tuck the ends into the center of my notebook. And that's it for the sewing part. My last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to glue my image onto the cover and it's done. I realized I forgot to add my little white gel pen detail, so I'm just adding that to my image. Again, I'm going to link the tutorial to the Japanese hemp leaf binding in the description below. For my second notebook, I will be making a spiral bound notebook. So the first thing I did was to cut out my cover and inside pages. I also am cutting out a piece of sticker paper. So you'll see me here. I'm going to be making a custom like DIY color your own sticker sheet to include in the notebook. I'm choosing some images from the new Mama Elephant set Write With Me, and I just love these images. They're so cute and really fun to color in. So I decided it would be fun to make some stickers with this. I made sure there is enough space around my images so that my scan and cut machine can comfortably cut around each image. I have an older brother scan and cut machine, so my settings might be different from your settings. But just to let you know, for my old scan and cut, I made sure the cut pressure was -1 and my blade was at 1.5. And I found that this worked really well in cutting my sticker paper. It cuts through the first layer, but not through the second layer. So here you're going to see that I just kind of show you how it made the sticker and it didn't cut through to the back. And now is the fun part. I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of the notebook, but before I do that, I wanted to decorate my cover first. So I took a sentiment from Mama Elephant's little agenda airplanes, and I'm just gonna stamp the word hi. I also colored an image from the new set Write With Me, the little fox with the fountain pen. I just thought it'd be so cute to make it look like the fox was writing the word hi. I just glue it on after coloring it with Copic markers, and now I am ready to bind my notebook together. I'm going to be using an 18 gauge wire that I bought off of Amazon. It came in a set with a lot of different colors. I went for the set that had lots of pretty colors, and it is pretty easy to twist the coil. So I'm using a Tombow marker because it made a pretty good diameter for my coil that will fit all of the pages, and also the notebook can comfortably open and close. And all I'm doing is just twisting it around the marker, the barrel of the marker. You can use any kind of round object to do this. Just kind of look in your stash and see what you have. But the main thing is you want to make sure that it's big enough so that the pages can comfortably open and close. Once I have made a few more coils than the number of holes, I just snip my coil off, or I snip the wire to get the coil off the roll, and I just insert the end of the coil into the first hole and just start twisting and kind of poking it through the holes. This was a lot easier to do than the hand sewn notebook that I showed you earlier. So this one is a lot of fun to do, and you can change it up. You can choose whatever color wire that you want to make this notebook. For the last step, I want to secure the ends of the wire so that it doesn't come off the notebook. So what I found was that you want to bend the end of the wire in like towards the other coils, and I want to do this on the back of the notebook. If you do it on the back of the notebook, it allows the notebook to actually open. I learned the hard way. When I try to secure the ends at the front of the notebook, it wouldn't open. So now I'm just showing you that it's all bound together and everything's all done. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you are inspired to make your own hand-bound notebooks, which are perfect for yourself or for gifting. Thank you, and happy crafting!